Hi, I decided to make this video because I have a lot of people asking me about what I've done and how I do what I did. And I just want to make sure that I answer your questions the right way instead of me trying to text back really quickly and give you half-assed information. So I just wanted you to know where I started. I don't want to get into detail about my past, but in reality, I started back in September of 2018. How I started my journey was I previously had weight loss surgery. I had a lap band inside of my stomach that was causing me so many issues that was obviously no longer working because I had gained a lot of the weight back. So I went to see my doctor back in August of last year, and she mentioned, let's get you that lap band removed. That's not working anymore. It should get out of your body. It's something that wasn't proven effective. So she scheduled my surgery to have it removed. I had that removed, and then she recommended that, hey, maybe we should give you gastric bypass. Maybe gastric bypass is the right way to go. We'll cut your stomach. That's a more effective way of losing weight. You need to lose weight, obviously. But in order for you to be able to have surgery, we need to send you to this program called Options in Kaiser, which is a 12-week program that kind of mentally prepares you for weight loss. It also kind of, informs you of the nutritional part of it and then the mental part of it. And how to lose weight, how to keep and maintain a healthy lifestyle. You don't want to just have the surgery and then you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and then you gain the weight back. So I attended this 12-week program that focuses on the usual diet that we all get recommended by our doctors, which is eat less, cut back on calories, try to eat as healthy as possible, as little as possible so that you can lose weight. And just have your plate that you see everywhere, which is this plate of like half full of veggies, a quarter of protein, and a quarter of like grains, right? So I attended a 12-week program. I did that for a while, and my progress was about half a pound to a pound loss a week. Sometimes a little more. I think at the beginning I lost a little more, but sometimes I had no loss. So at the end of the 12-week programs, maybe I've lost about maybe 20 pounds. And in that same class, which was just a group of people, there was this other young lady that was, being very successful with her weight loss. And she mentioned that she was doing keto. And I was kind of interested, I just did some research. Maybe at the end, maybe the last week or so, maybe the last 2 weeks of the program, I just went online and I kept thinking about it, but never really I thought it was a very difficult thing. I thought it was a lot more complex than maybe it was. But I just started, I said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on eating some of these things that I found on Instagram, really, hashtag keto foods. You will find all sorts of images that talk about what foods you can eat. So I thought, hey, I know that it might be a little more complex than that, but I'll start with at least eating some of the things that are listed in these lists. And I did. And the first week I came back and I had my weigh-in, because they do weigh-ins in this program, and I lost 5 pounds. So at that point I was like, whoa, this is actually something that my body is reacting very well to. So I decided to keep that going. After the program was done, I was supposed to be scheduled for bariatric surgery, but that took a little time. You had to get clearances and you had to get additional tests. So I knew that meanwhile, after the program had ended and my surgery was scheduled, that I needed to maintain the weight loss and continue to lose weight, because again, because of the surgery, you have a minimum amount of pounds that you needed to lose, a percentage of fat that you needed to lose before your surgery could get scheduled. So I try to maintain the keto, and for me, keto, was very easy because keto focuses on high fat, high protein. It's a very high fat, high protein diet, with very minimum carbs. And when you do get your carbs, you should get them from vegetables. So I just, keto for me, up until today, it is protein. It is lots of fat in my protein, lots of nuts, lots of cheese, let me just reword that. Lots of protein, which is eggs and meat, a medium amount of cheeses. I try not to do that much, because cheeses, even though they can be very low carb, they still have carbs, and it depends also on the cheeses that you get. So you just, every time you go to the store and you're trying to find something to eat, you want to buy something to eat, look at the nutritional label, and if it has carbs, try not to have it. Most meats have 0 carbs, so I focus on like eating more meats than anything, eating eggs, eating avocado, eating cheeses, eating nuts, eating greens. So that's what I did for a while. And up until today, I'm still doing it. Most recently, I decided to cut back on tons of vegetables, and focusing my diet more on on protein, carnivore diet mostly, with minimum amount of vegetables. But that's me now that I've lost 70 pounds. I think my body, needed a change and a shift. But when I started back in September, it was just focusing more on meats, eggs, cheese, some veggies, and cut out all sugar, almost all sugar. Like, the only sugar that I do have is stevia. I add stevia to my coffee. I add heavy cream to my coffee. But almost no sugar. For those people that struggle with like a sweet tooth, it's a lot more difficult. For me, it was easy because I am more of like a salty person. I enjoy meat, and I enjoy cheese, and I enjoy sour cream, and I enjoy heavy cream, and I enjoy, those things like ranch dressing. I still use ranch dressing. Those are things that are very fatty, but very low in carbs that I can eat, that I already enjoy. For people that have had, that struggle more with like the sugar part, there are so many ways that you can still get that sugar fix that you need, with keto ingredients such as almond flour, coconut flour. There are just tons of recipes online. I mean, there's just, the keto community has figured out so many ways of doing things, of cooking things that we would normally eat without this diet, such as like pizza. We use like, instead of, because we don't have bread, we do, the cauliflower crust, and they sell that at the stores, and you can make your own with almond flour. I mean, I made cheese bread with almond flour and cheese. My mouth is watering. I've made all of these things that, you can probably say, wow, I can't live without these things. There's no way I can do keto because I'm going to miss my cheesecake. I'm going to miss my toast. I'm going to miss my pancakes. I'm going to miss my pizza. You can still do those things though. And that's what makes this diet so easy, because you can still make any of the things that you usually like to eat in a keto way. So it does take time. That's all you have to do. You have to take the time to cook these things, or you can just make it very simple as to, focusing on eating more meats, like lettuce wrap burger. Like, you can have a triple, a fucking double if you need to, and you'll be fine. You're totally fine. You do get rid of like the sugars and the ketchup. You get rid of ketchup. You get rid of certain condiments that have the sugar. But if you keep it very simple and you focus on vegetables, cheeses, nuts, and eggs and meat, you're good. I always try to recommend you start that way. During the first couple of weeks, you start on just keeping it simple. You can, if you need to make, again, like pancakes, you can totally make pancakes. There's so many sugar-free things out there now. There's sugar-free pancake syrup that I have. There's sugar-free strawberry marmalade that I have. There's sugar-free chocolate chips that I buy to make chocolate chip cookies. So there is so many things you can do with keto. There's so many recipes out there. So there's no excuse. Like, the diet itself, I think, has worked, at least for myself, so well with my body, and it helps. That fuel that you create, the fat and the energy that you create with this diet is just gives you so much energy. It's amazing. So just going back to my own journey, I did keto for a couple of weeks after the program, and then I found out about intermittent fasting. I found out about the 16-8 way of fasting, which is you go 16 hours without eating, and then 8 hours of the day you just eat. So good example that you're always kind of given when you go online and do your own research too is, you don't eat until like 12 p.m., lunchtime, and then you stop eating at 8 p.m., 12 to 8. That's the window that you give yourself to eat what you need to eat. If you focus it on keto foods, even better. Your results are going to be even better. So you eat two times a day. If it does have to be large meals, then make it large meals. The point here is that you also try to limit the amount of times you eat. If it is at the very beginning of your journey, you can put more volume to your food, and that volume should come in protein because that'll hold you, that'll make you feel less hungry throughout the day. It'll hold you for a longer period of time if you eat meat rather than if you eat tons of veggies, like you're trying to pack up veggies. The veggies have a certain amount of calories. Calorie is energy. You're only going to have a certain amount of energy for a certain amount of time, and then at some point you're going to want to eat more and you're going to be hungry. So do try to lump it with your proteins, like heavy proteins, heavy vegetables, and like load up at 12. And then come before 8 p.m. dinner time, load up again. And don't snack. Don't snack. Your insulin gets, it shoots up every time you eat. So if you keep putting your insulin up, you keep blocking your fat loss. So that's what I did. I ate keto foods, and I began integrating the 16-8 intermittent fasting method, which is, again, 8 hours eating, and then after 8 p.m. up until 12 p.m. the next day, I don't eat. I do have, however, tea, coffee, water. Those things, I just keep them with me at all times. I have my little tea that I'm sipping on constantly because that kind of gets your mind going that you're being like not fed because it's not solid food, but at least you're having something inside your body, and it kind of, keeps you kind of busy. Have your teas, green tea, any type of tea. I mean, teas have like 0 calories and have tons of benefits too. So it's just, you just win. Have your coffee. There are many people out there that will tell you coffee needs to be black in order for you not to break your fast, which is very true. If you put cream, if you put sweetener, then you break your fast because your body has to digest that, right? I've never listened to that. I'm going to tell you, in the 8 months that I've been on this journey, I still have my coffee during my fasting period with cream and stevia. And I've had results, obviously. So it's up to you. If you do want to stick to a more strict fasting and reap more of the benefits of fasting, which weight loss is one, but there are so many other benefits, and you can do your own research. But just cell regeneration and just like healing from the inside when you're fasting, right? So weight loss is one thing that you gain from it, but that is not the only thing. There are so many other benefits, which is another reason why I did it. The main reason why I started doing fasting was because the idea of me not eating for an amount of time was like, I can't even like grasp that, right? Like for me, I'm constantly snacking, constantly eating. And I think as a society, we're taught we're supposed to have 3 meals a day and 2 snacks in between. And don't forget your breakfast because you must have a breakfast. I haven't had a breakfast in a while. There's just no need. My body doesn't even need it anymore. And I feel better than ever. I mean, all of these things, keto and fasting and all of this new way of doing things, it's so recent. It's so recent that there's not many studies yet. The studies that there are kind of, they're positive. I mean, they are, but there hasn't been enough duration of time where we can say this is a new way of eating. And a lot of doctors don't know about it. A lot of doctors don't, right? Like they don't know about it. They are learning with you. I mean, I went back to my doctor after I had lost maybe about 50 pounds for my check-in for my surgery, because at that time I was still thinking about surgery. I thought like, hey, maybe we can still have surgery. I'm still pretty big. And I went with a doctor that kind of checks me out, and he was just like amazed by everything. And he was saying that he also did fasting, which he's like, I recommend it. So you might check in with you might, I mean, of course you're going to need to check in with your doctor before any of this, by the way, because I'm not a freaking doctor myself. But do your research online, talk to your doctor. A lot of times, a lot of people are now kind of, they go see their doctors, and their results are so great, and just overall health, that doctors are kind of looking into it, right? So there's a lot of new information. There's just a ton of information out there. There are groups on Facebook that you can join as well that are, fasting, that are keto related, and you can ask questions. There's so many there's still such a big community out there. But also keep in mind, like I said, like with coffee, you're gonna get people tell you, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're gonna do what works for you. I did what I thought worked for me. For me, having my coffee with my cream was a way of like feeling like I ate, like I had some sort of substantial food in my body, even if it was just heavy cream and coffee. So again, going back to that, you don't eat any solid food, and you try not to have you don't have any juices anymore, unless you have like the 0 carb, 0 sugar. Those you can have. I still don't try to add tons of like Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. I kind of eliminated that as well. Every now and then I do, I don't say no to anything. I sometimes I'm just craving a Diet Coke or whatever, I'll have it. But for the fasting period, again, from like, let's say 8 p.m. until the next day, 12 p.m., I try to have coffee, water, and teas. Although if you are new to the fasting system, then you don't want to start at 12 p.m. the first day. You could, if you're a badass and you can handle that, you can totally do that. But for me, being an obese person and being a person that has been used to eating constantly, it was a very difficult thing for me to just start at 12. So I always recommend that you start, at 11. You wake up, you do the things you got to do, you stay busy. Like, that is a key word. You stay busy. You're either at work, staying busy. You keep your mind going, because your mind and your body are, connected. They start getting used to certain things, or certain rituals. So when you don't do certain things, your brain is just like, what the fuck is going on? What's going on? Why aren't you able to do this? What we're supposed to be eating right now? And then it reacts, and your body starts to react, and you start going all over. But if you keep your mind busy and focused on other things, then it's a lot easier. I mean, fasting becomes a lot easier. If you're at home just chilling, waiting for the time to get here for you to eat, then you're really gonna struggle. But again, start at 11 and close at 8, and do that for maybe about 2-3 weeks, and then at the 3rd, 4th week, when you start to feel more confident, like you start to kind of get used to it, you're not struggling with it so much, then pull back to 12 p.m. and start doing 12 to 8. And again, yes, you can eat between 12 and 8, but you should limit the amount of times you eat. And if you limit the amount of times you eat, and you're doing the keto-friendly foods, and you're fasting, magic. Just like fucking magic. I've struggled with my weight all of my life. I've done all of the things that I think I could have done to try to lose weight. I've had lap band surgery. I've lost 100 pounds, and I gained it all back. I've done the calorie, I've done the Herbalife, I've done all of the things possible. I've not been committed enough, and I failed in every single thing. And it was because it was difficult for me. It was very difficult for me to do these things, to run on empty, or feeling like I have to eat less. Like, I don't worry about that anymore. I load up on like protein, and I have my, if I want, what I struggle with is chips. Like, if I want chips, then we can have the pork rinds, which are not the same thing, but gives me some of that crunch. I can I can cook some, like I can actually grab some mozzarella cheese and put it in a pan and just let it cook and turn it, and it becomes this crispy little thing, amazing, delicious little, you can use as a taco shell, you can use as a way of like replacing your tortilla, you can use as a way of replacing your chips, those kind of things. You know, there's so many ways of doing things. Like if you love something very much and you feel like there's no way I can let that go, figure out how to make it keto friendly. That is what I did. Where I am now, I've lost 70 pounds to date. I am now kind of shifting my diet a little more to the carnivore diet, which also feels amazing. Sorry to the vegans and to the vegetarians. That is just my choice, what has worked for me. But there's no way you can lose. There's no way you can fail if you just stick to fasting and keto-friendly foods. Cut out all your sugar, cut out as much carbs as you can, and focus on eating the other parts of the food pyramid. Fasting and keto together makes it so easy for you to stop feeling hungry. Like after a while, I'm just like, I'm not hungry. Your body starts getting used to the fasting, and then you go from like being able to fast for 16 hours. Then I recently do like 24 hours. I've moved into the OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. I have one big meal a day, and I am good for a whole day. Sometimes I'm good for 2 days, and sometimes I'm good for a day and a half. I don't need to eat. You don't become as hungry. You lose a lot of those cravings. You lose the sugar cravings. Like I don't really crave sugar. Like I've never really been a sweet tooth, so maybe that's why, but I really don't crave sugar. I don't crave a lot of things anymore. You start to lose a lot of cravings. You start to lose a lot of like hunger. You know, you just become, you don't see food in a way of like, you know, you see it more as medicine now. You eat it and you have it and you enjoy it, but you're like, okay, good. That's not the main focus in my life anymore. It is a very like odd physiological thing. Like my mind is just like sometimes trips out. Like my mind is constantly trying to tell me like, wait, no, there's so much joy in eating. This is what you're used to do. This is what you need to do. It is such a mental thing. It's not even a physical thing. It is a mental thing where we have been accustomed to eating this many times a day. We've been accustomed to having the low fat diet, right? Because if you go to your doctor's going to say lower your fat, lower your calories, and that's what most of society knows about as the diet. You know, you cut back on your calories and you eat less and you have fat free. A lot of these fat free things that you do purchase are full of sugar. That's what they do to make up for the flavor lost in the fat. I love my fatty diet. Like my fatty diet has helped me to lose the weight. Like me having pork belly, like I love pork belly. I if I go have ramen, I have like the ramen with the vegetable and the broth and tons of pork belly and my boiled egg. I mean, everywhere that you go, you're going to find something that is going to be keto friendly. There is no excuse. There's really no excuse. If you go have tacos, just have the meat. Sorry, I know that one becomes a little more difficult, but if you're going to be in these situations, if you're going to put yourself through this, then it's always, at least for me, the most difficult part is like the social part where, you know, people want to get together for lunch. And for me, now that I fast, I don't need to eat sometimes during lunch, but I want to hang. And that's like, that again, it's all physiological. It's all mental. You go through this very mental transition and you have to be very strong, which is, I think, something that applies to all diets, right? Like you have to be consistent. But I am 35 years old and I am just the happiest to have been able to run across keto and fasting, to have been able to run across this lifestyle, because I just keep losing weight and I just keep feeling better, and I just keep, you know, the fact that I was able to do this on my own without any surgery is just amazing. It just is. And I swear by this lifestyle. I really do. I don't know. I think it worked very well for me, and I know it works very well for a lot of people. So I recommend it 100%. I recommend it. I just wish that you think about all of the mental things you're going to go through and shut down your mind, keep your mind busy, and, you know, eat all your fat. Don't be afraid of eating your fat. You know, it's like delicious and it's going to fill you up. Amazing. But that's what I did. I might have missed a lot of things, but I just wanted to put this up on YouTube and at least, guys, give you some like understanding of what I've done and what has worked for me. If you have more questions after this, do reach out to me. It'll be easier for me to like answer them at that point because you've already seen the video. But yeah. All I can do is wish you the best of luck, and I know you can do it. I have my sister-in-law doing it. I have my brother doing it. I have a couple of other friends doing it. And if it wasn't this easy, I don't know. I mean, it's the best thing ever. I recommend you try it. Give yourself at least 3 months before you quit. Because a lot of times, a lot of people lose a lot of weight really quickly. A lot of people kind of start, you know, like everything else, you plateau and you have to revamp again. And there's, again, if you join a couple of Facebook groups or you do search hashtag keto community and you follow keto people that are doing it or fasting people, you can get a lot of support online. Unfortunately, not a lot of doctors are very aware, so it's difficult to find those resources, but there is a community out there that is able to support you. And then also keep in mind that you're going to do what works for you. So I've modified the diet the way that it's supposed to be to something that I think works best for me, you know. So I wish you the best of luck again. Thank you so much for watching all this video. It's almost 30 minutes long. I need to go. And do reach out to me if you have any other questions. Thank you so much.